Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So today we get to take a look at the 2025 BMW M440i Gran Coupe. Huge shout out to Hendrick BMW Northlake for providing this vehicle for me today. Take a look at their website, that link is down in the description. This M440i is finished off in Dravit Gray Metallic. It has an MSRP just over $72,000. Now this is powered by the 3-liter twin power turbo inline 6 with the 48-volt hybrid system. It's paired to the 8-speed automatic, and it pumps out 386 horsepower, 398 pound-feet of torque. This model here is rear-wheel drive. It weighs in right around 4,200 pounds. It'll do 0 to 60 in 4.6 seconds with a top speed of 130 miles an hour. It also has a fuel capacity of 15.6 gallons. You'll expect to see around 26 miles per gallon in the city, 32 out on the highway. This also has a wheelbase of 112.4 inches. Its overall length is 188.5. It has a width of 72.9, a height of 56.8, and its ground clearance measures in at 5.5 inches. Now, as we take a look at the exterior styling now for this model, you'll notice that the kidney grille is finished off in gloss black. There's also the forward-facing camera along with parking sensors and the active grille shutters, so those will open to provide cooling when needed. This also has LEDs for the headlights, high beams, DRLs, and turn signals. And then you'll notice too, this model has a lot of carbon fiber accents. So it's on those inlets on both sides, but there's also some more gloss black accents, and then some very nice lines that run in that lower section of the bumper there. And then there's a few that come down the hood, meeting the top section of that kidney grille. Now, as we work our way to the side, this has a really neat design for these two-tone wheels. There's also the red M Sport brakes. There's a gloss black trim accent just behind that goes all the way to the rear tire. There's also the power folding side mirrors with the carbon fiber mirror cap, camera, and turn signal. Up top, there's a full moonroof, and then there's also gloss black surrounding the window trim, which matches nicely with that lower section. There's also some great lines in that side skirt too, and this has the flush mounted design for those door handles. Now, as we work our way to the back, there's carbon fiber for the trunk mounted spoiler. There's the backup camera, LEDs for the taillights. There's all the parking sensors. Look at all the carbon fiber on the side pieces here, where we have the reflectors along with the sensor there, and then there's more gloss black in the lower diffuser along with the exhaust on both sides. Now, this does have remote start, so you can use the lock button, triple tap on that to lock or to start it up and to shut it off as needed. You can also use the key fob or that button to open up the entire rear section. So unlike a traditional trunk, we have more of that hatchback design to give you a lot more practicality on the inside to put in some larger items. Now, there's no storage or spare underneath the floor here. We have some cutouts on both sides that go in a little ways. There's this cover that you can remove, and you can also fold down the back seats to get that much more interior space. There's also this cover here, which is fixed in the upper section there. Looks like you might be able to pop it out if needed, however. And then up top, you have two buttons to close that liftgate or lock the vehicle too. Now, if the vehicle does lock, this does have the proximity door handles in the back, so you can lock and unlock it from the back. This model also has the Tacora red for all of the leather. There's all the brushed aluminum accents, Harman Kardon for the audio, storage in that lower section. And then as we hop into the back now at 5'10", I have a good bit of space. You'll notice there's no storage pockets behind the seats there. We have vents in the middle, all the temperature adjustments, auxiliaries, small bump in the middle for your middle passenger there. But at my height, I am just barely touching the headliner. So for that design, it still retains a good bit of headspace. If you're any taller than me, it's going to be a little bit tight, but I could sit comfortably here for my size. Now, right in the middle, there's the armrest along with the cup holders, and you can even fold down this middle seat individually. So if you need to place some items through, like I said, you can remove that cover there if you needed even more space for larger items. And then let's take a quick look at the window sticker, where we don't have too many options for this. There's the parking assist along with the M Sport Pro package, and that's about it. Carbon fiber and some of the controls for the interior. And up front, there's lock and unlock, memory seating adjustments, the power folding side mirrors, window controls, that liftgate release, and some storage. And then there's the automatic front seats finished off in that red. There's one manual adjustment for these seats. We have that leg support that you can move in and out. And then for the 25-year model, we have the flat bottom design for the steering wheel. Finished off in leather with the red stripe up top. There's all the brushed aluminum accents too. But let's start this up, take a listen to how this sounds. And coming back to the digital gauge cluster, you'll notice for the current layout, miles per hour is on the left side. On the right side, there's the tach. In the lower section, that is going to be fixed. So there's your fuel along with the engine temperature. To go through some more of that information, use this button right in the middle where there's also Bluetooth and voice commands, tuning, and volume. So now under content, we can scroll through some more information right in the center. So you can pull all of this up and monitor it as needed. You can pull up the map there. You have a G-force meter, and then you can pull up music. Now you can also adjust the layout. So if you go over to the right, now we can make it a little bit different of a view depending on how you want to look at this information. So nice to have all that right in the middle. On this left side, there's all the cruise control settings and then a really nice design for the spokes in the lower section. Now on this left side, there's the headlight adjustments. There's also some brushed aluminum accents. And then as we work our way to the middle here for the infotainment system, there's all the shortcuts in the lower section. There's also the rotary dial that you can use. You can get into Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, all of your interior lighting. You have quite a lot of apps that you can get into. There's also the home screen here with the split design. So you can go through all this information on the left side if you would like, while you still have the nav on that right side. There's all of your adjustments for your climates, so you can easily get into all of that. You can pull up the navigation, music, and then this even has heated seats, the heated steering wheel, and there's the temperature adjustments on both sides. There's more carbon fiber underneath that with the air vents and some lighting right in the middle. There's power and volume, tuning, some defrosters. This gets wireless charging with auxiliaries and cup holders. You can also hide that away, where there's brushed aluminum accents on both sides. Now you have all these shortcuts for the infotainment system. So like I said, you don't have to use this as a touchscreen system. We have the shifter, so push that forwards for reverse, where there's the 360 camera. You have automatic parking, backup assistance too. So you have no shortage of visibility around this entire vehicle. You even have a shortcut to the forward-facing camera too. So you can pull that up just by using this control, and you have drive and sport mode, of course, and then park on the backside. Now there's also traction control, parking sensors, engine start stop, and then a few different driving modes for this model. So that will help with your throttle response depending on how you'd like to drive this. There's auto hold and the e-brake. You get an auxiliary with storage in the middle, along with plenty of storage in the glove box. And then up top, there's garage door buttons, and then you have the adjustments for the sunshade and sunroof. And then here's a look at visibility. It's pretty easy to see, maybe a little bit of a pillar there, but you have large windows on both sides, so you can easily see. And then over this left side, you have plenty of glass to view that way too. As we sat off now behind the wheel for the 2025 M440i, I recently reviewed the 24-year model, which there's not too many significant differences aside from the large curved screen now and the flat bottom design for the steering wheel. Essentially everything else is relatively the same. So we have the new interior, the new technology that BMW is incorporating into a lot of their models. And I think it's a really nice layout. Now with this model too, you can get rear wheel drive or you can go with the all-wheel drive model. So it just depends on where you live. If this is your daily driver, which it would make for a great daily, if you want a little bit more traction with that all-wheel drive system, you can spec it that way. So for this model, a little bit less expensive. We don't have too many options, and of course with that rear wheel drive system. But let's pop it into sport mode now, and we can use these paddles here, where it definitely sounds pretty good. Now some of that might be some piped in sound, but this is a really nice vehicle to drive. If you are looking for a little bit more practicality from your sedan, you can have more of that hatchback design, but it still makes it look like a traditional sedan with that trunk, even though the entire glass opens up. But it's a nice vehicle to drive. I have been able to drive these quite a bit. This is the first time in the 25-year model, but it's going to drive very similarly to the previous models that I've been in. Seats are very comfortable too, and just coming around these turns at normal speeds, it's a fun vehicle. It has some sporty aspects to it. It's not the most powerful, but it has plenty of power for a daily driver and to have some of those sporty characteristics. Sounds good. Sounds good too. The paddles are also very responsive. It's also very comfortable and quiet. It's a BMW, so it's well refined for what you are getting. Now I've also been able to make a comparison with this and the M340i, which is a normal sedan, so we don't have the glass that opens up. And I've seen a lot of comments in that video. A lot of people may not realize there's the M440i, which you could get in place of the M340i. I don't think it's quite as popular, which is interesting because it does offer more
practicality in the back. But it's just a personal preference. A lot of people did like both of them, and when they saw the 440, they didn't realize that it was available. They're like, oh, that's a pretty cool option that you can get as well. They're similarly spec'd, just depending on what you go with. This will be a little bit more expensive even for a base model, but it is nice that you have those two different options. And we're still in sport mode, second gear. Here we go. And a mild acceleration, we're up to speed. Not all that loud either, but again, paddles are pretty responsive, and we do have a good sound. Now, some of that could be piped in, but regardless, it does sound good, and from the outside, as you heard, sounds pretty good too. But this is what it's like to be behind the wheel for the 2025 440i. We have the latest technology and interior that BMW is incorporating into pretty much all of their 25-year models. Some of them are still a little bit behind. For the 26-year model, we will probably see some of this integration. But like I said, this is a very nice vehicle to drive, and it pretty much feels like the rest of the BMW lineup. And when I say that, I drive a lot of BMWs, and since we have a very similar interior, it feels like those other vehicles. Only differences are going to be pretty much from the front seats back, depending on the vehicle that you choose, the options that you are going to get, and the body style as well. But it's a nice vehicle, something that you could absolutely daily drive. And I will say, it is a little bit tight for your backseat passengers as far as headroom goes, but when you compare that to the M340i, it's not that much different. So for the design and styling that you get with this, it is a little bit on the smaller side. 340 is on the smaller side too. So the 5 Series, 7 Series are going to be larger vehicles if you're looking for larger backseat passenger space. But if you want a smaller vehicle, this is still doable for adults to ride in the back, even though it is on the smaller side. And the performance is great. I know we're not doing performance driving, but in the past driving these, they're going to handle very well. We do have the functional driving modes too, which is basically just going to make it louder in sport mode and then give you more throttle response in sport mode too. Even though it's not crazy loud, this is more of that luxury focused vehicle. So it's not something you want to be very loud. And then as far as the turning radius goes, steering is pretty tight, but we are easily able to do that. Let's go back into sport mode now. And one last acceleration. That is going to wrap it up for the 2025 BMW M440i. Once again, huge shout out to Hendrick BMW Northlake for providing this for me today. Take a look at their website, give this video a huge thumbs up if you enjoy it, and consider smashing that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with our daily uploads. I will see you all in the next video.